Hello and welcome to SuperConnectivity. This is Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me as always is...
Phil, first name Agent Parrot.
Very good, Agent Phil Parrish. First name. So big thing I want to talk about. Well, not a big thing for me. So for those of you who don't know, my good friend Phil, first name Agent Parrish, does a distinguished competition podcast over on the Before the Bat feed, both World's Finest with the lovely Lilith Hellfire, and Before the Bat, where they talk about the great series Gotham, which I am a big fan of. And I just wanted to say two things, because I was listening to your stuff, and one of the things that I listened to was your 75th anniversary of Robin Damian Wayne edition. And all I can say is, after listening to that, the one thing I want right now to make the universe complete is for Damian Wayne to show up on Teen Titans Go. I just think that would be the best concept, just to have Damian Wayne show up on Teen Titans Go and have all the other Titans sort of be all into Damian because he's just so cute as a little version of Robin, and just talk about how much cooler Damian Wayne is than Robin, and just get Robin very frustrated. It's like, because they make fun of how Robin's kind of a dumb name, but for a superhero, but it's like, Red Robin, that's cool. It's just, but I'm Robin, yeah, but he's Red Robin. You can just see Beast Boy and Cyborg going off like, Red Robin, that is so awesome. And Raven go, he's so gothy and cute, because he'd show up in like a little black suit as in Damian Wayne style, and just be all, what's the word, misanthropic and whatnot. And it would be, he is like a little Robin, which is cuter, because if things are smaller, they are cute, and so he is a cuter Robin. But yes. I would very much like to see this. I want to just sort of write a spec script of this and just send it out there, because it just hearing you guys talk about Damian Wayne sort of following the footsteps of Robin in the Teen Titans, and how you would love to see him on the Teen Titans again. And I was thinking, yes, and I would like to see him on Teen Titans Go. The other thing that struck me when I was listening to you guys was what I think may well be, and just sort of defined for me, the difference between DC fans and Marvel fans. And you can say, who is the better? This isn't a value judgment about who's better and who's worse, but something that I kind of noticed, because it had a direct parallel to something that we talked about recently in the all-new Marvel Roundup. You were talking about the recent Grayson Superman team-up, and this was, I think, on the September 30th podcast of World's Finest Comics, and you were complaining about how the fact that when they did the flashback of Robin and Superman first meeting, Superman was older than he was clearly appearing in the comic at that point, and to you that seemed like a continuity error. And it struck me that this was the exact thing that we noted in the most recent Doctor Strange book, that Doctor Strange clearly visibly older, and the flashbacks they showed, Doctor Strange, clearly visibly younger than he normally is depicted, and in the flashbacks they showed, he was clearly visibly older. And what struck me is that this is what differentiates Marvel from DC, is that in Marvel we have the no prize, the thing that every Marvel fan longs for, which is when you can prove that Marvel didn't make a mistake, that what looks like a continuity error, what looks like something that doesn't make any sense, is purely logical if you just think about it hard enough. Mm-hmm. And I think that because Marvel, basically, when they did bad continuity, rather than letting it just be bad continuity and saying, hey kids, it's a comic book, it's bad continuity, don't worry about it, said, no, it is a challenge to you, our nerdy little friends, to find a way to say why that's not incongruous with what's already been said. And so as a Marvel fan, you almost love when they have bad continuity. Because now I get to create my fan theory, and this is how this will tie to this, and we're going to say that really references this, and Deadpool does that, and so because Deadpool did this, then that means that this is that, and these things go like that, and there we go. That is why, Spider-Man killed that guy, even though he's never supposed to kill, or something like that. That's the Marvel way. The Marvel way is, even when it's bad, that's just a challenge to us to make it good. And maybe, and it is something that I do think that is the difference. And like when I listen to, like right now, you guys are pretty down on a lot of the books that DC's putting out, and granted, I'm not reading a lot of these books. As I've said, I would love to read DC Comics. I always want to read DC Comics. I'm a little upset I'm not reading Secret Six right now, because I loved the last few Secret Six iterations they've done. But I can't get to it because I've got to buy all these dang Marvel books. And they just keep on making more Marvel books, and they never give me an off week anymore where I can get a DC book on the list, which is probably their plan. But it just strikes me that, I get the feeling that people who read Marvel are maybe happier with Marvel, which doesn't mean Marvel has a better product. I think that it's just that there's a certain thing that's drawing you to Marvel, which is this fact that maybe you're allowed to be happier. I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of the problem is like Marvel's never done like the hard reboot like DC seems to do every 10 to 20 years, like with Crisis on Infinite Earths or the New 52
since the last one. I mean, I'm just going to say that right now. I think that they've done like 2 hard reboots in the last 10 years.
Well, yeah, they did the New 52 in 2011, and like Convergence earlier this year, it wasn't like a hard reboot, but they kind of like, they're like, okay, we're going to go with all our gimmicks after Convergence. Like Superman is like really, really underpowered now, and the characters, just a lot of them just don't seem like familiar,
Like a reboot after like Flash too? Oh, no, Flashpoint led into 52.
Yeah, Flashpoint kind of created the New 52. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And it's like, Superman, this New 52 Superman now, he's like depowered, and I don't know, in all the different books he's in, he isn't portrayed the same in every book. In some books, he's like ready for a fight and, really more aggressive than Superman usually is. And in other books, he seems more Superman-like. And it's just... And then, like we were talking about, you were asking me about Batman, Bruce Wayne has amnesia, and now Jim Gordon's running around in like a mech suit as Batman now.
It's the Blue Bunny suit. He's the Scourge of Gotham, the Blue Bunny. That is what you must call him.
Yeah, and then the whole Superman thing, there's a new Superman book out now, Lois and Clark, and it's like, I guess the Lois and Clark from the pre-New 52 have been hiding on New 52 Earth for the last couple years, and so it's a lot of it's a jumble.
Yeah, well, no, but you see, but but that's the thing. It's like I think to a Marvel fan, it's not a jumble; it's a challenge.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, like to my mind, immediately once you have 2 different characters that aren't connecting, that are not being portrayed the same way, part of me says, well, probably they're 2 different characters. So we're just going to assume that, okay, there's one clone of Superman who's this way and another clone who's that way. And that totally, not for nothing, makes sense for Casual Friday Superman, as you've been calling him, which I love as a phrase, because doesn't he dress exactly like the old Superboy who also was Casual Friday Superman, but was officially Superboy? So that Superman probably is just a Superboy clone. That's why and they're just telegraphing it to you with the T-shirt. That yes, this is actually a clone Superman, and this other Superman, that's actually Superman. And unless they're directly saying I did this last issue and now I'm doing this, you got to assume it's something separate, and that's going to be the big
it's just
mark my words.
I don't think they put that much thought into it, because I think a couple months ago they were saying they're not really worried about continuity now. So like, it's like in all his books and in some of the books he guest stars in, it's Casual Friday Superman. But meanwhile, we have like at least 2 Justice League books right now where we have a fully powered and in his super suit Superman. So it's like, where does this take place? And it's just all very confusing.
Yes. Well, that is worrisome. If someone at DC said, well, we don't really care about continuity anymore. It's like, are you sure comic books is the business you want to be working in? I'm just saying, there's a lot of work out there for writers right now. You can write They all pretty much want you to have continuity, though, because if you're running one story to the next, they want there to be a connecting tissue. You don't want to just be, unless you're just running one-shot movies, there has to be continuity. That's why we go to serial projects. So I'm a little confused by that, but assuming that's just a red herring to throw you off the scent, that really it is all connected, and it is actually just 4 different Supermen running around this new 52. I mean that's that, like I said, to me that's the thing. It's like, to a Marvel fan, I mean, that's just a given. When it breaks, you find a way to fix it, and it's up to you as the reader to fix it in your mind. It's not for them, the storyteller, because the storyteller is going to take whatever you write to the letters page and make that's the idea we were working towards the whole time. Just ask George R.R. Martin and all of his brilliant ideas stolen by Stan Lee. Here's from the letters page. I'm sure there's that conspiracy is out there somewhere.
If it's not, it is now.
Yes, it is now. There you go. George R.R. Martin to sue Stan Lee next. Although then Stan Lee will sue him for like naming one of his family's Stark. It's like, you stole that from me. See, Stan, he just lets it go because it's a collaborative thing. We all work together to make better stories, and and that, for what it's worth, that is what Stan Lee brought to Marvel, was this communal sense, this very 60s vibe. When you think about it, it's this commune of reader and storyteller, and everybody's working together to build better stories. And nobody owns nothing. It's all just free. It's all going back and forth. You draw the pictures, I'll write some words, and everybody's going to just write some more and draw some more. We're all cool. Now, of course, Stan Lee wound up getting all the money at the end of it, as any good cult leader should. But when he's building the cult of Marvel, it's all about free love and free communication, and everything's free. And since it's all free, I'll just take the money, because you don't need that, because it's all free.
That's right, everyone. DC, Marvel, everyone's getting it tonight.
Yes. No, I'm just saying, it's very free form here on SuperConnectivity. But if you think about it, that's very much the Marvel ethos, is that community. I feel between artists, between the artists that create and the consumers who read, and then the consumers who wish to create, and as we say, as the lunatics take over the asylum, because all the kids who grew up reading Stan and Jack, are now writing Marvel comics. And actually, really now, the kids who grew up reading Jim Shooter's Marvel are all running Marvel now, which is why the Beyonders back and all these other things are back, because those were our characters when we were the kids, when we were the guys writing in saying, I think the Beyonder shouldn't be all powerful, or maybe he should be just sort of powerful, and could the Beyonder really kill Death? Shouldn't Hercules have been able to defeat the Hulk when he was separated from Bruce Banner? That was my letter. You'll look that up.
Which issue?
Oh, goodness. I don't even remember. I think that appeared in the issue just before the Grey Hulk. I think I had one of them published in that issue, because I made
with the Vision.
Yeah. I think somewhere around that I had a letter published where I remember the reference, because at that time there was also the Avengers annuals going on, and Thor was yelling at Hercules about Hercules not wishing to join the battle, but just to stay in his apartment and consume fried fowl. And I had made the reference, Hercules should lay off the fried fowl. He really, according to legend, he should have been able to take the Hulk. So I've had more than a few letters published in Marvel Comics over the years.
But I was just excited because I might have to check after this podcast, because I know I have that issue before, the one right before the Grey Hulk, so I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, just go. I don't know if it was that issue or I've had a few letters published over the years. I even got a no prize once, so I'm very proud of that. Amy. So yes, but that's Marvel Comics, and that's and that it's all connected aspect of Marvel Comics, which I think is the other thing that if DC is really saying we don't care about continuity, like I said, I don't know what business they're in anymore. but it doesn't sound like comics. And honestly, if anything should tell you that DC doesn't care about continuity, it's the fact that they've got like 4 different live action universes right now. And that, to me, that is just mind boggling. That there isn't even a desire to connect them, and which is weird. But of course, when Marvel came out with theirs, their whole catchphrase was "It's all connected." And even though, as I think Lilith pointed out, Flash is that Gotham, or not Lilith. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name. The woman who does Before the Bat with You,
Kelly.
Kelly was pointing out recently that Gotham is doing fantastic ratings wise, and Flash does as good as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if not better. So maybe DC has something right in there, and that they're not catering to me, the nerd, but I guess to me, but Marvel caters to the nerd. Marvel wants the nerds to be happy. DC has said, "Screw you, nerds."
Well, I think they kind of said the DC's whole stance was, well, it's all part of our multiverse.
And that's a fair concept, and I certainly liked in some of the Secret Wars Alex Ross covers when he was pulling in all the different multiverse variations of, like, they had like the TV Hulk, and I don't know if he ever did Red Brown Captain America in there, but I'm gonna have to look back to it and see if I do see a cap with the clear shield anywhere. Good old Red Brown. Yeah, but but of course that's also something that was that's the thing. It's like DC says, well, it's all part of our larger multiverse, but then Marvel goes and does the Spider-Verse crossover where they said, yep, it's all part of our multiverse, and now we're going to connect all the multiverses. And yes, 1960s Spider-Man, that's a real universe. And then we're going to make the Web Warriors, where they're going to travel to the 1960s Spider-Man universe and the Amazing Friends universe, and we're going to have them go into the Japanese giant robot universe, and they're going to go to the and then we're going to write a comic in continuity with the Japanese giant robot universe, and then we're going to do this because nerds eat that stuff up. Cue this cash register sound effect. I will edit it in later. There it is. Yes, because that's what nerds want, and that's why they spend money. But what's funny is I didn't even realize until you had made mention of it on the World's Finest podcast that every Marvel comic comes with a free digital issue, and that's why it's $1 more.
Yeah. You didn't realize that?
Oh, I knew it was $1 more. I just didn't realize that that's why it's $1 more, which actually means it's not a free issue. Although they don't say it's a free issue. They don't say it's a free digital issue. They say it's a bonus digital edition.
I mean, I don't know if that's why it's $1 more, but I mean, it's a good idea because there are some DC books that are $3.99 and they don't come with any code.
Yeah, well, yeah. So there we go. So at least I'm getting something out of it, even though I'm not using it. Although now that once I download that Marvel app, because you did give me the Hawkeye a digital download and the Black Widow digital download, I will do that, and then I will get that, and then I'll start getting my digital comic books too. And watch them on my phone or read them on my computer because I just got a new laptop, which means I'll be writing blog posts again soon. As soon as I can get my kids away from my computer.
Yay! Yeah, I was gonna say, start up SuperConnectivity again, and
I think I owe a couple
True Believers.
True Believers, yes.
Nice.
Well, I definitely have to do an expanded discussion of the Doctor Doom theory that we recently did, and then go on to do some more stuff in SuperConnectivity and True Believers. So they'll be coming soon, kids. Watch your inboxes. Anyway, so what's going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe lately? So one interesting thing that recently came up is discussion from the guy playing Helmut Zemo in the new Civil War movie, and he makes the point that no, he's not wearing the purple mask, but he also made something that I thought was kind of interesting, which was the suggestion that we're doing a different take on Zemo. And I'm wondering, because of course everyone assumes, oh, Zemo's the villain, Zemo's the big bad, Zemo's the bad guy. And I'm wondering, maybe he's not. And I raise this issue because Zemo in the Marvel universe has been a somewhat ambiguous character. He's certainly sociopathic, but he's not necessarily evil, which is an odd thing to say. But Helmut Zemo, founder of the Thunderbolts, we must remember,
Mm-hmm.
sees things as means to an end and doesn't necessarily want to destroy the world or oppress the world, or his agenda is little more than ruling the world. And has in the past seen heroes as a method of ruling the world. And it makes me wonder if maybe Zemo is going to be a much more ambiguous character as far as his evil than we may be immediately led to believe. He may not, as an example, be in league with Crossbones or any of those group or any random Hydra guys. He may actually just be on his own thing, trying to make his own world, his own new world order as a villain who sees himself good. I could very much see them possibly building Helmut Zemo into a sort of MCU Doctor Doom, which I think would be very interesting because they don't have a Doctor Doom right now, and they could use a Doctor Doom, a guy who is a brilliant scientist, a guy with certain immunities and diplomatic connections, who is evil, wants to rule the world, but maybe has a nobility about him that goes beyond what we standardly see among our villains. That his motivations are not so crass as self-aggrandizement or money, so much as maybe his motivation is to make a better world for all humanity, just with him at the top. And I think that would be a very interesting take on the Zemo character and the Zemo mythos, especially how they have built up Zemo over the years, sort of taking him from what was kind of essentially, kind of taking him from being a poor man's Red Skull and sort of making him into a true, through just sort of a history of Helmut and their takes on Helmut, making him into a very real, almost noble, tragic figure of supervillainy. So it'll be very interesting to see. And hey, if it gets us a Thunderbolts Netflix series or a Thunderbolts movie, they have announced some movies that they haven't given us names for. I think.
Oh yeah, Thunderbolts.
Oh, that would be Justice Like Lightning. I would love to see that. But
you can even get Hawkeye on one of those movies because he was with the Thunderbolts for a while.
Oh yeah, well you can get anyone in those things, and I don't know if Jeremy Renner. I think Jeremy Renner enjoyed Avengers, though. I think I don't know. Sometimes you wonder, like when they're doing the drawing the lots of who's going to die. You do wonder if some people kind of almost want to be the guy who gets written out, just because you've already got the fame that comes from being an Avenger, and if they kill your character, you get that out. So you can go do other things with all your Avengers money that you're sitting on now. But at the same time, you don't have to go spend another, year of your life making another Avengers film. You get out of the contract, those strong Marvel contracts. But speaking of the MCU, do you know what's coming out next week? Which is driving me nuts that that Marvel has again putting out too many dang good books that I want to read. Marvel Handbook of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, really?
Yes, and apparently it's going to be character by character. So the first one is Iron Man. So it's going to be an in-depth nerdification of exactly where Iron Man fits into the MCU continuity. And it's like, and it's text-heavy pages with small bits of artwork, which is what, as a nerd, I just like, I want to get it, but man, I know I don't have time to read anymore. But man, MCU handbook. And there's another handbook coming out. Oh, the other handbook they've got coming out is the Secret Wars handbook to the multiverse. I guess it's essentially explaining all the different realms on Battleworld and how they fit into the larger multiversal continuity. Oh, man.
Wow.
Yeah, man. This is what I live for, man. You got no idea. This is what I live for. This is what, as a little kid, man, I would rush to get the I would a little bit. It's okay. Love the Marvel handbooks to the and man, and and that connected cover.
Oh
If
yeah.
where I remember the comic book store I went to as a kid. They one of the comic books I went to comic book stores I went to as a kid during the big comic book store boom of the late 1980s when this gravy train was going to last forever. They had all the wall, just all the cover to cover to cover to cover to cover. So you actually got to see the whole poster artwork of every. Well, I don't think it was every character in the Marvel universe, but dang, a whole bunch of them, and it was beautiful. And yeah, they don't do that anymore. But man, that was really really a beautiful book, and I'm really looking forward to these handbooks. I mean, I haven't bought a handbook in years, and I hate myself because I see them. But like then they started to come out with the handbooks as like trade paperbacks. So rather than just have like a one issue comic book that you could buy to get like A through just the A's or like A AA through AC, I can't even think of any A characters right now. Lizard to Lazarus. It's just or it'd be Lazarus Lizard actually, but just that small book that you could read. Not, but then they started coming out and they would be like trade paperbacks. So they were like, back when like a $5 book was a lot of money for a book.
Yeah, big huge one.
Yeah, get the big huge catalogs of these handbooks, and it's like, oh, I want to get it, but man, I can't afford to buy that. And I'm in that same spot now because I gotta keep up with the continuity in the books. I can't just get that data dump continuity.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do? But yeah, so that's coming out. So many good books coming out from Marvel right now, and as a continuity nerd, I love it. It's great. But what else is what else? There was some other recent news in the Marvel universe. Nothing new on Fantastic Four. And I'm totally drawing a blank right now.
Are you talking movies? Or are you talking?
It was MCU stuff, I think, but that's okay. Oh well, actually, one thing interesting was the gentleman who plays Falcon. Another name I'm blanking on. Can tell it's good.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Jeremy Renner keeps on coming up in my head, and I know Jeremy Renner didn't play the Falcon.
Anthony Mackie.
Mackie, thank you. Anthony Mackie. And he was just talking about, and we asked him, like, is it important that a black director, direct Black Panther? And he said, no, that's not important. What's important is that it be a good story, Mm-hmm. And of course, he's a black actor, and it has to star a black actor. So obviously, his concern is, are black actors getting work? I'm sure there's a lot of black directors saying, no, it has to be a black director. But hey, diversity in Hollywood, not that good. But he does make, but that is the point, is that, it's easy to worry about diversity, but what's more important is to have a good story. The counter argument to that, of course, is that, a diverse cast can actually tell a good story and actually can tell a better story than necessarily, because they're going to have insights that you're not going to see. Which is one of the reasons why I'm kind of excited to see the new Black Panther series written by local genius. I'm forgetting how to pronounce his first name, Tanashi Coates. I know his last name is Coates, and I'm looking forward to this book because it's a different take on Black Panther, and it's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, I haven't read his book yet, but I've read excerpts of it. It's a very powerful book. It's a very interesting book, and I think it'll be interesting to see how and if that translates into his take on the Black Panther. Because the fact of the matter is, he may not have anything about from what has made him a household name at this point, that in his book, in the Black Panther, because the Black Panther is, by its nature, a very different character and a very different story. The story of an African American is very different than the story of an African king in a land that was never colonized. I mean, that is essentially the differentiation of it, is that in this way it's in many ways so much more, which is I think one of the reasons why I think Black Panther is kind of such an important character for Marvel to get right, as far as diversity goes. I mean, it's for diversity of its line, that Black Panther is in so many ways the ultimate wish fulfillment idea. This idea that that the greatness of the superheroic genre, really does know no color. And to give you the example, here is Black Panther, who is so hyper capable, so beyond, so much the Marvel Batman. He is Batman plus, because he's Batman with his own country. I think I once described Black Panther as sort of the good guy version of Doctor Doom. He has his own country, he's a super genius, and he's all these other things too. It's like if Doctor Doom sought to do good, he would be Black Panther. And that Black Panther seeks to do good, is the king of his own country, and like a real king, not like a pretender king like Doctor Doom. Because we all know that Von Doom, that's just an affectation his grandmother came up with. But I think that in having that wish fulfillment, which is all comic books are wish fulfillment. All comic books are about people without power suddenly gaining power, and that when they gain power, and this is what I think is crucial to what makes a comic book and the superhero genre so powerful to those who follow it, is that the core of the comic book story is, when I have power, I will use it for good. And that, I think, is what differentiates it from so many other views of humanity. So many views of humanity is that you gain power and immediately power corrupts. And the crux of the superhero mythos is, I have gained power and I will rise above that corruption, because at the end of the day, who I am is not a bad person. And yes, I have failings and I have flaws, and I'm going to try and maybe make a buck off my spider powers, and maybe I'm a little jealous of Iron Man and all the attention he's getting, and that's why I'm going to become a superhero. But when the chips are down, I'm going to be a good man. And as Star-Lord said in Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm not 100%. I forget the exact word he used, but yes, I don't believe. I don't believe anyone's 100%. But yeah, and that's the thing, is that, when it comes down to it, if you're just a normal guy who finds himself in this place of, by luck or chance or whatever, finds himself in this place where you get to be the most powerful guy in the room. You could spend your time tormenting Flash Thompson in the halls with your spider powers, because now you're the big strong guy. Or you could just keep on being Peter Parker and then put on the mask at night and go defend the innocent. There was that great line in The Last Days of Ms. Marvel when her mom, who says, "Yes, I know you're Ms. Marvel," and she says, "You're not mad." And he says, your father and I worried that you would wind up with a bad crowd, or or take drugs or do anything like that, to find out that the worst you're doing is sneaking out at night and helping people. I could not be more proud." And that's the truth of it. Oh, speaking of parents who know the secret identities of their teenage superheroes, did you happen to catch Peter Parker's, Web Warriors Contest of Champions storyline recently?
Yeah, I've been watching it.
And you noticed what Aunt May knows.
Yeah.
They revealed that in at least the Ultimate Cartoon Universe, Aunt May is not stupid. Is not a moron, and this is pretty much yes, I know you're Spider-Man, Peter. And he's like, "What? How did you?" It's like, come on, Peter. It's not that difficult. You don't even disguise your voice, Peter. You're not even going, "I'm Spider-Man," like Bruce Wayne does. You're not.
You had Power Man and Iron Fist living with us.
Yeah, not for nothing. Yes, and again, neither one of them that much of a costume or that much of a disguise, especially not Power Man. Power Man has no costume, has no disguise.
Sunglasses.
Oh, you'll never recognize me now. It's the reverse Clark Kent. It's but oh yeah, but that is, but I think that was very telling, and of course that kind of moves into something that we talked about prior to the incursion, which was whether or not May kind of knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man. as of the last as of when he saved them from the Black Cat just before the world ended. That kind of seemed like she was kind of like, I know, like not saying it, but you kind of as a reader felt like, I think she knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And makes me wonder if that's going to be something that's revealed, especially now that Peter Parker is a billionaire investor with Aunt May as one of the primary investors in his corporation. And hey, look at my good buddy Spider-Man, my bodyguard Spider-Man, because I couldn't be Spider-Man if he's my bodyguard. No one's
that's the thing.
This trick before.
I mean, we kind of saw it because, like, right before Civil War, Aunt May found out Peter was Spider-Man. She, like, walked in on him all bloody and messed up in the spider costume sitting on the floor, and so they had a big, long conversation, and she was good with it, and then, once that whole Mephisto thing went down, that wiped her memory, too, so...
Oh, so wait. Now, did she find it out before he revealed it publicly, then?
Oh, yeah. So I'd say at least a year before, yeah.
You realize, then, technically... she's not covered under the deal.
Well, I think it was like a widespread thing. It doesn't matter when anyone found out, they wiped their memory because like right after it happened, Matt Murdock didn't remember who Spider-Man was.
Yeah, but wasn't there a thing because he goes to the Fantastic Four and says, "Once I talk to you, you'll remember."
Well, yeah, that's the like the fail-safe thing is like if he pulls off his mask and people see his face, if people watch him unmask, all their memories come flooding back.
I see. So, okay. Interesting. Interesting. But it makes me wonder if maybe just through constant close contact and Aunt May not being an idiot, she's maybe had her memories come back then. It'll be an interesting thing to look for in the all new, all different Marvel Universe, which is not a reboot, even though D-Man's alive. Yeah. Well, but that's actually an interesting point about D-Man being alive. And I'm wondering if they're going to mention this about just as a concept within continuity shifts that had occurred. As I've pointed out in the past, the Marvel Universe has been destroyed numerous times. There are, even like in like one issue when Spider-Man joined the Avengers for 3 issues and then said, I can't take it. This is I punch muggers. This is too much.
With Nebula, and the Stranger.
Yeah. Was Nebula and the Stranger? The issue I'm talking about is basically the universe kept on blinking out of existence.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember. I remember Cersei. I don't remember much else in that story. Cersei was cool. I love me.
Also, well, like we keep bringing up too, we don't know how Secret Wars is going to end and what buttons it's going to reset either.
Exactly. So, so I mean, it's entirely possible that most of the universe has been. We say that Marvel doesn't do hard reboots, but I think they have enough leeway to say, yeah, but we've had shifts all the time, and that's the difference between Marvel and the way Marvel, because Marvel reboots all the time. They just do them subtly, They're small reboots here, so that you don't notice them as a big reboot. And that was one of the things I kind of when I listen to other comic book podcasts and people say it's all new, all different, but everything's the same. Thor's still a woman and Cap's still a black guy. It's like, yes, that's why it's all new, all different. You don't realize that yes, they've been moving these things, building out these new legacy characters, and now that it's officially the all new, all different, it's like, well, these are just the same characters that were here before the incursions. It's like, yes, but now we're sort of hanging a hat on it, saying, see, it's the all new, all different Marvel Universe with all the legacy characters now in the primary role. From Miles Morales on down. Yes. But that's how Marvel does it. They don't do a big reboot. They do the small reboot and then hang a hat on it. Say, see what we rebooted here? See what we did? So, and as a result, the Marvel fans never think that there's never been a reboot at Marvel Comics, but clearly there have been a lot of reboots over the years. You just don't notice it because they're subtle. Because they don't say, no, we're going to do a reboot, and it's going to be all new number ones with the new 52, and all the continuity is out, and it's a brand new continuity. It's like, yeah, all the continuity is there, but some things might have changed. Yeah, because you know what?
Exactly.
And you know what's the good part about that is that because of that, writers can take the continuity that they want and ignore the continuity that they don't. Whereas when you do a complete hard reboot, suddenly you have no continuity and your writers don't have anywhere to go from. So it's like anytime they introduce something, it's the first thing, which means that one of two things happen. One is that you have characters that you're not quite sure where to take them. The other thing is, oh, now's my chance to. So I'm going to say who Darkseid is, and I'm going to say who this character is. And I'm going to be the first guy to introduce these characters into this new universe, you know. And so you get too much too fast, or you get not enough of anything and nowhere to go, nowhere to define the character, you know. Whereas if you say, well, the past is still there, but you know we're expanding out and how we're going to interpret it, and you know I think one of the best things that Marvel ever did was just to acknowledge its own fictionality in comic book, with everybody understanding that, you know, a lot of the stories that you've read were actually Marvel Comics interpretations of previous events. That, you know, Marvel Comics publishes comic books in the Marvel Universe that as licensed characters of these adventures, essentially as which is kind of an interesting thing in that sense, that in the Marvel Universe, the comic books are kind of news magazines, sort of, because they're telling the tales of these superhero adventures that are going on in the city. And as a result, you know, Marvel will often embellish less interesting stories. And so every so often the story you'll read in the comic books, they'll say, well, that was actually just Marvel's take on it. What really happened was this, you know? So yeah, but that's an interesting aspect of Marvel Comics. Oh, okay. And I think that's enough connections for the all new, all different Marvel vs. DC edition of SuperConnectivity. I have been your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me as always has been
Phil, first name Agent Parrish.
And Phil, where can they find you in the social media world?
Well, they can email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com, and on Twitter, I'm @nightwingpdp.
Very good. And you, of course, can follow me, Charlie Esser, @Charlie Esser on Twitter, where I normally, although I did not this week, I normally live tweet the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And you can always write to me at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com, and like my Facebook page and like the SuperConnectivity Facebook page. Oh, and one other thought on the last issue of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the guys were talking online today about the possibility that Andrew has some kind of secret superpowers that would allow him to survive the explosion. My suggestion, he's working with Dr. Sand
and
unlocking the secret strength that all humans have. Look for it, guys. If you watch next issue, if Blair Underwood has long green hair, you heard it here first. Mark my words. Connect with us again next week, folks, and we'll see how wrong I was. Have a great night.